Hello everyone, I'm Ron Burgundy, and today I'll be interviewing Dr. Velter and Dr. Rose. They are experts on the human body, but they specialize in functions and the stomach. Woo! Welcome everyone. Maybe everyone get a round of applause. So our first question is from a dear friend of mine. She lives in Salt Lake City, and she emailed me this morning wanting me to ask you personally, Dr. Velter. Her name is Randy Woods.
Okay.
She's one of my close friends. She's actually one of my ex-girlfriends, actually. But her question was, how is the stomach made up?
Well, you see, there's three layers of tissue. The outermost is the longitudinal, and the inner is a circular. It wraps around the whole stomach pretty much. And then there's the oblique, which is the innermost.
Oh, I see. Well, she must be very happy right now that you answered her question.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. On to our next question. This was sent in by a viewer from Texas, and his name was Kelson Finney, and his question really was, what is really the purpose of the stomach?
Well, it's quite simple, in fact. It's after your food goes through your mouth, after you chew it, takes all of the flavor, goes down your esophagus into your stomach, right? And then it sort of sits there, but while it's being sat, the stomach sort of conjures all the acids and it mixes it up and starts the digestion process.
Oh, I see. Oh, it's quite simple, actually.
Yes.
People just overthink it way too much.
Yeah, exactly.
Weird. But his question was, what do the 3 layers of muscle do? Because he's been working out and he just wants to know what he's actually doing.
Okay, well, it's the 3 layers. They all have their individual purpose, but they all contribute to an overall goal of mixing up the food and the acid. So, in fact, they all just squeeze the stomach in a different way. For example, the circular layer, it kind of sort of squeezes it in, but then the oblique, it has the acid glands in it where they squeeze out the acid and they produce the mucus, which helps with digestion.
I see. I'll make sure to tell him that. Well, this is actually a question that me myself would like to know, because every time I'm done eating and I have that acid pain in my stomach and I take these pills, but they just don't work. So really, my question is, the gastric acid is the stuff that grinds up the food. Am I right? Or?
Well, not entirely. It does grind up the food in an extent, but it more like, you know how acid works on skin, it burns it away.
Mm-hmm.
It burns the food away. It makes it into a fluid more instead of hard food. And the thing about gastric acid is it's on the pH scale, it's about a 1.5 to a 3.5. So this is the same as almost lemon juice, which is about a 2. So it is very acidic, and that's what really destroys the food particles.
It breaks it down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Essentially.
I see. And that's what creates waste.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So what is gastric acid made of? So lemon juice is made out of lemons. What's gastric acid made of?
Well, there's 3 main components to it. There's hydrochloric acid, HCl, which is about 5,000 parts per million, which is it's a good amount of acid in your stomach. And then there's also potassium chloride and sodium chloride, which are the 2 other big main things. But otherwise, it's smaller, not as strong acids that provide the digestion.
So would you say if you put these acids to skin, would it burn? Or
Some of them would, yes.
okay, I see. So my last question is actually from my 12-year-old daughter, Amy. She's a synchronized swimmer, but she has a problem. She's addicted to nuggets at McDonald's.
Okay.
So her question was, how does the stomach start the digestion process? Because she's beginning to be afraid that her stomach isn't digesting properly.
Okay, well, I'll touch on the McDonald's issue after this. So let me just write that down to remind myself. Okay, so what happens is when the food enters the stomach, it mixes with the acid that's already in there, and as the stomach moves around, it mixes the food and the acid. But as the food starts to become like more watery and acidic, you need bicarbonate. And what this does is it brings down the acid level in the food so that when it enters your small intestines, it won't damage them because your small intestines don't have any acidic coating along them, so as the stomach does. And so basically what happens once your food enters your small intestines is it's already at a pH level of approximately 6, and 7 is basically distilled water. And so what happens there is there's no acid buildup or anything on your small intestines, which means no damage. However, if you don't have enough bicarbonate, like moving in through your stomach, you will slowly get acid damage in your small intestines, which she could be experiencing from the McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
But it's most likely the McDonald's is just taking longer to be neutralize the proteins and all the carbs and all that. It's harder for your stomach to soak those out and like get rid of the waste.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why she's probably experiencing some bloating.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, she is getting a bit.
okay, yes, that's quite. Have you ever watched Super Size Me questions?
No.
Oh well, yeah, that touches extremely well on the absorption.
Yeah, I'll make
of
sure she
nutrients.
watches.
Okay, yes, okay, yeah. And so basically, what happens while your food's getting broken down is enzymes, and proteins, and all that is getting mixed in. It's basically a huge pot of soup in there. And it's just getting mixed around until it goes down into your small intestines. And once it's there, it starts the process of absorbing all the nutrients.
Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, well, I actually have a few questions now for Dr. Rose, if you didn't mind. Ross. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Velter.
Yep.
If you don't mind, I would love
Yes,
to
for sure.
ask
Yep.
Dr. Rossetti right now to sponsor you so we can ask him a few questions.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
So, Dr. Rose, how are you doing?
Very good. Lost my voice.
Yeah, it's okay. Wait, you were skydiving, right? And you were screaming too loud.
Yes, there was a turtle on an island that needed my rescue, so I screamed to save it, and it died. But that's another story.
That's another story.
Yes.
We gotta talk about that later. Have
yeah.
a drink at the bar. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Okay,
So you have some questions?
yeah. So my first question is, well, this one is from a nice man named Spiros.
It's beautiful.
He lives in Greece, actually.
Oh yes.
He plays-
Child,
He plays in the Russian Hockey League, but
Yes.
in the summers he goes to Greece. He's not very good. He's a fourth liner, but that's okay. So his name is. So the question is, what is chyme?
Well, to start, chyme is a semi-fluid mass that is partly digested and by the stomach. So basically, when you eat food, it will go down to your stomach and it will break it down with physical and chemical digestion. And basically, that's what it is. It's just partly digested food. That's what chyme is.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
So the next one is, what is chyme made of?
Well, kind of like I said, it's basically just food and stomach juices, as gross as it can sound. So it would be a mass, like a liquid, and a food solid that is being expelled from the stomach, which is like a mushy material, which is really gross. But that's what it is.
I see.
So food and water. Yes.
So my next question is actually from a pro soccer player in Colombia named Seabass. We call him Seabass for short.
Sebastian.
But his real name's Sebastian, yeah. You know him, Sebastian Morales. He scored like 3 goals yesterday, but that's besides the point. His question is, how is chyme formed?
Well, chyme is formed by the chemical and physical digestion or breakdown in the stomach. Like Dr. here said, when the food is in the stomach, the acids will break it down, and basically that is what chyme is formed from. So it's it's very interesting.
Thank you very much.
I have a question. So,
Yeah.
after you eat McDonald's, is that chyme or is that just McDonald's?
McDonald's is a whole other level, but no, not really. Once you eat McDonald's, it will digest like anything else, even though it's much harder. It will become a type of kindness.
I see. Thank you. So my next question is actually from the star from Hangover. His name's Leslie Chow.
How's it, Chow?
So he would like to know, what is a use for kind?
Well, there's no real use. We don't usually use it, but there is a traditional recipe that I cannot think of the name of, but it's from a place in Italy or Rome, and it's a dish that they use thyme in. So they cook the thyme in the dish, and it's the key ingredient, which is known to be very disgusting, but very popular in that region. So that's the only real use that we have for thyme, other than expulsion from the body.
Okay.
Yes.
My next question is from a good friend of mine, Desmond. We went to high school together, and we don't see each other much, but he really likes to send me questions. So he would like to know, why does vomiting happen?
Well, vomiting is a very natural thing. It's the body's way of expelling something that ingested that it did not like. So, medically known as emesis, it is when you eat something, your body doesn't want it, and it uses the esophagus' muscles to expel it out of your body to get rid of those toxins or whatever it was that you ate. So it will come up from your stomach and out. Everyone knows it's been around since humans have been around. It's just a natural defense mechanism that your body has to expel toxins.
I see. So, and is it always a good thing to try to vomit and get it out of your system?
Well, in some cases it can be, and in some cases it isn't. If you ingested like 10 pills all of a sudden, and you knew you were going to be very ill because of those 10 pills, it is good just to get it out. But if you are very dehydrated and you were to vomit, you can get very ill and even die because your body doesn't have enough energy, and you can even have a cardiac arrest because of the muscles being used from inside to thrust that out.
Oh, I see. Because one of my favorite ever rock stars, Jimi Hendrix, actually
Yes.
died from it.
In fact, later we will be showing the video on Jimi Hendrix. But I'd also like to tell you about radiation. Once someone gets chemotherapy in a doctor's office, it's very common for them to throw up, or almost certain for them to throw up. This is because when they get the radiation, the stomach lining in their stomach is destroyed, and that causes the stomach to not be able to hold in the food, and so they will throw up. Just a fact.
Oh, thank you
So
very much.
yes, that's
Yeah, because I was really sad because Jimmy was such a great, talented musician, and he actually died from throwing up and coming back into his mouth.
yes. In fact, let's show that video right now.
Okay. Let's put it up on